afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another session of Beyond Connections, your bi-weekly opportunity to ask the analysts of Abaco Securities or MyTrade Philippines your burning questions about the stock market. And today I'm with my fellow analysts.
Good afternoon, I'm Herman, one of the analysts of About Research.
And,
Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah, one of the technical analysts of MyTrade.
and I'm Bess, also one of the analysts for the research department. So um, feel free to ask your questions in the comment box. Before we get to your questions, any comments on today's trading?
For today, it was mostly down. The index is down by, I think, if I'm not mistaken, how many points?
36.76 points, about 50.54% down today.
And this probably due to anticipation of higher inflation for tomorrow. Is that you?
Could be. Inflation will be announced tomorrow morning by the PSA at around 9 a.m., so just before the market opens. And since you brought it up, consensus estimates for March inflation is at 3.8%. Last time I looked, that would be higher than February inflation of 3.4%. This is also in the middle of the forecast range of the BSP, which is 3.4 to 4.2%. So everybody is expecting much higher inflation rate last month compared to February. So you're correct. That's probably one of the reasons why the run up in the PSI um, has seen a speed bump today. What about you, actually? What are your observations of the market in the past few days?
Well, as far as the index is concerned, I think someone asked about the index. We've slightly broken up below the 50-day moving average, so it needs to hold at 6798 to prevent further declines in the index.
Okay, I think you can flash that question from
Short-term outlook.
from
Yeah.
the short-term outlook for PSCI from LV De La Cruz, so that answers your question. If the PSCI needs to
Hold.
hold
Ideally
above
holds
6, 7, 8.
above 6798 level.
Okay, so let's go back to the first question from Rands Realtor. Any insights about Jollibee while the stock price is going down despite the recent news disclosures about its plans for expansion or investment? So I think the news that Rands Realtor is pertaining to is the news that Jollibee is planning to increase their footprint in China by currently at around 400 stores, so they're planning to quadruple this in the next 5 years. So that will be quite an investment, quite a rapid expansion. Unfortunately, our consumer analyst is not with us today, and he'll probably be back on our next session. But just to briefly comment, we have not been very bullish on Jollibee for some time now because we believe that this international segment is actually a bit of a drag to its profitability. So this is probably why the stock price is going down even with this news. And also this investment will entail a considerable amount of capital expenditure for Jollibee. And it will probably take quite some time, maybe more than the 5 years, before we can see a positive contribution to the profitability from this expansion in China. Anything additional?
Yeah, and also just to point out, not all expansions or investments will provide a boost to the stock. Recall that Jollibee's investment in Smashburger and CBTL has led to a drag in earnings because these two investments have not yet contributed positively to the bottom line. So it's really a case to case basis, and as Beth said, it might take some time before we see if these recent investments will bear fruit to provide the support to the stock. So maybe we can also look at the technicals.
How many Jollibee? Plus.
Jollibee.
They, just like this. So I had a, excuse me, a very strong high volume drop here. Would expect more support towards 219, 200, and possibly 2012 for it to eventually start having a counter trend bounce. So far, the speed of the drop is probably we'll find support probably closer to 219 to 212 before the drop abates.
They recently introduced nuggets. But that's not that's impact the international segment. Okay, next
Try nyo
question.
naman yung nuggets ng Jollibee.
The nuggets ka naman. Next question.
Interesting.
From True Wealth. True Wealth 2021. The favorite question to everybody. What are your takes on SPNEC?
For SPNEC, sentiment is currently negative on stock, needless to say. For now, I think the one potential catalyst that might galvanize the stock is when the company finally announces its potential partner for its flagship project, Terra Solar. So we're still on the lookout for that. And until then, I don't think the stock will see any activity in the coming days. So we're still waiting for that. So right now, not that bullish or positive on the stock for the meantime.
Okay, you can scroll down so we can read other questions. Okay, from LB De La Cruz again, please let me know your outlook for with the leaders plus ICT, DMC, and GTCA. So maybe while you prepare some charts, I see. You can comment on these stocks for ICT. This ICT and GTCA have seen good returns so far year to date. For ICT, we are looking at possible positive impact on their income this year once the port of Durban in South Africa is consolidated into their books. Last update from the management is that this is expected sometime after the elections in South Africa, which will be in May. This is the largest or one of the largest ports in the region and would contribute huge volumes to ICT's portfolio once it is part of their geographic footprint. Also, ICT benefited a lot from some tariff increases last year. There are also some tariff increases still due later this year from their existing ports. So that will add to their yield per TEU. Also, last year global trades were not that good, but ICT volumes were actually much better than the global average. So that indicates that their portfolio is at an advantage probably since they are located in more fringe markets where there is a lot of potential for economic growth and so there are high volumes for trade. For GTCAP, we are expecting still earnings to be positively impacted from Metrobank. and Toyota Motors Philippines, which are the two pillars of its net income. Toyota Motors saw strong growth in sales of their vehicles last year and some improvement in their margins. This year, we are expecting by 4Q that Toyota will see increased volumes from their relaunch of the Tamaraw model. Um, Also, uh, we are expecting some benefit from the depreciation of the yen on their margins. So that's one of the primary reasons why GTCap. We are quite bullish on GTCap. So Herman, maybe on Plus and Desi.
Yeah, you discussed ICT and GD Cap. How about the stock? Like, do you see the stock? Does it still have legs to go up?
For GTCap, yes, we still see some good upside for the stock. I don't know if we can discuss our target prices. This is public, but the stock price has not reached that yet. ICT also has not yet reached our target price, although the upside is narrowing. So we'll be taking another look at our target for that, especially once the Durban deal is finalized in second quarter.
Okay. So for Plus, I think that the market is finally appreciating the potential for this company, especially as it reported 2 billion worth of earnings in Q4. As its earnings performance is entirely recurring, so there were no one-off items in Q4. We believe this can be replicated in the coming quarters, and we conservatively estimate a net income of 8 billion for 2024. So that still implies that Plus is still trading cheaply at its current price. So we think the stock still has room to go up. For DMC, I think the rally has been somehow boosted by rumors on its CHP acquisition, although that is still quite speculative. But earnings-wise, in terms of outlook, because of the decline in coal prices and spot prices, we expect earnings for this year to substantially decline and thereby affecting also its dividend payout. So there. You want to discuss
Okay, I
like
do
one or two
want to very
words
quickly
from
the technicals on
the Plus?
Plus. Just my thing. So Plus, for short-term traders, you may want to lighten closer to 15 pesos at the top of the channel. What's the other one? GT Cap. Also showing continued signs of strength. Possibly the whole channel might be closer to possibly closer to 900 for the measured move target on the technicals. So, yeah.
Alright.
Okay,
Yeah, I
next
see.
question from Julius Manalo. Your analysis of full year 2024 SCC financial results, so this year's financial results.
Yeah, so as I alluded to earlier, coal prices and spot prices are expected to be weaker this year compared to its average level last year. So because of that, I expect significant decline in earnings for SEC. And of course, since it is the main contributor of earnings for DMC should also see likewise a uh, similar uh, similar correction in earnings for this year. So this also has potential implications on their dividend payout. So for this year, for total dividends coming from this year's earnings, it should be around 20 to 25% lower year on year. So that's it. So outlook is weaker earnings for this year for SEC and DMC.
Okay, next question. Or maybe you want to comment? Thank you, that was from Regan. From LB Developers again, do you think we hire? Okay. From Ken, there are rumors that UBP is in talks with SSS about whether to relinquish its board membership. But do you think UBP's SRO, can we show this question on screen? Will be carried out after waiting for the return of 20% of its free float? If that happens, will Union Bank return to 20% soon? The SRO, the last time the management mentioned this, they are looking at probably May or late April start of the SRO of a period. This is not, the SRO is not related to any possibility that SSS will relinquish its board membership. They are raising capital since they need to buffer up its capital equity ratios. Since they are expecting much stronger loan growth for this year, specifically coming from their consumer segment, both from Citibank portfolio and from the consumer segments of their digital bank and the legacy consumer segment of their subsidiaries, CSB, and the other non-Citibank related consumer loans. So I don't think the schedule of the SRO will be affected by that possibility of the SSS relinquishing its board membership. But if SSS does relinquish the board membership, yes, this will increase the free float to more than 20%. So that means if that happens, very big if, that could be a trigger or catalyst for return to the index. But still too early to tell since we still have to compute for the market cap and value traded levels up to June this year. And the third question from Ken, the SRO period is set to be around June, but what is AB's opinion? Almost same now. Opinion on the scheduling. The initial guidance was May or June, but in the last briefing, UBB mentioned it's possible by late April or by May. The SRO will probably not affect the float since the major shareholders, AEV, will participate in the SRO, so the float percentage will not change from that. Okay, next question. Which one do you want? Give chance to others, LB de la Cruz. Or we can probably answer your additional questions in the MyTrade Facebook group and or in future social media posts.
Maybe Kiri.
From Fei-Ang. Okay, good day po. Ask lang po about LTG. Need na po ba alisin? And okay ba now mag-bili pa? Sorry, my eyesight. Bili pa? Hold lang muna. We are still hold for LTG. I think you're asking about our other product. It's membership in our other product, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we can talk about the charge for LTG later, but the outlook for LTG has actually not been as positive as before since it's being negatively affected by the increase in smuggled cigarettes in the country, so that its market share has actually declined while the market share of smuggled cigarettes has increased compared to 2022 by a significant amount. So that means lower earnings for PMFTC, which is the main cash driver for LTG, and it's possible that future dividends will be affected. So the status of LTG as a dividend play is now in a bit of jeopardy. Although last time we spoke with management there, the tobacco segment still has ample cash, even though the market share has been falling and even the volumes have been declining. So we'll have to wait and see how the dividends for LPG moves over the next few months, next few quarters. But it's not as positive as our outlook is not as positive as what it was before. So that's why we're only neutral. We don't believe we should remove it from that other product yet. We will have some updates for you when we release that next 2 weeks from now. Right?
Oh, sure. So, LTG. So LTG basically is has already run into the resistance from this trend line here, 1022. So you may want to lighten at that level, closer to 1022.
Thank you. Next discussion. Which one do you want to take?
Okay, yeah, give a like.
From SES, inquiry. Insight for FI performance of 2023. And where is it heading?
For FLI, its performance really did not stand out compared to its bigger peers in the sector. And also, its office occupancy is still the worst at, at around 60 to 70%. So, a clear laggard compared to its peers. So, for FLI, not really that positive on stock, and we still prefer its bigger peers such as SMPH and RLC, both of which have already outperformed pre-pandemic profitability because of the resiliency of their mall segment. So not really bullish on FLA.
And chart?
Well, the chart for FLI is really not that appealing. Big resistance is at, well, 110. So we don't know if it can rally further from here. So it encounters resistance at 73 cents. So you may want to lighten or sell on. Excuse me.
Okay, next question. From Ice Cream 03. We're seeing some new names, so that's good. Wala tayong community natin. MyTrade, hi MyTrade. Insights for recent pump of SSG. Is it just a dividend play? Recently, I think Mrs. G declared surprisingly rather large dividend yesterday. Do you have any insights on Mrs. G?
Yeah, for me, it's just a dividend play. I don't think the company can sustain such a high level of dividends moving forward. And what if you look at the breakdown of the dividends, it's really the special dividend that is much larger than the regular one. So moving forward, I don't think they can that level of special dividend is sustainable. So so currently, I think the recent pump is just a dividend play and would just gradually subside by exit. So maybe we can look at this, the technical style size.
Okay. So as you can see, the chart has, well, the bands have contracted, which looks back about 3 years. It's just been moving sideways, and it's really not much to go by here. So you may want to sell at the 150 peso resistance, which way is that? Not much.
For that, maybe it would be better to sell a day before X date in order to secure your profits.
Okay, from Nyar Bill, I hope I pronounced that correctly. What is the maximum percentage of stock you should have in a diversified portfolio? Um, we usually tell our clients not to have more than 20% of your portfolio in one stock or even in just uh, one sector. Um, Although this would depend really on how many stocks you have in your portfolio and how big your portfolio is. Aside from diversify in terms of the names, you have to remember to also diversify not just by sector but also to possibly by the related parties or by families. If I'm describing it correctly, for example, if you have uh, 5 different stocks, but they're all ALA stocks, then maybe you should look at other listed stocks to add to your portfolio. Any insights from your experience, Ivy?
Well, I think you covered pretty much most of it. I think that's
Any personal preference?
personal.
Is 20% a good uh,
20% in Congos for me.
Huh?
20% in Congos for me. At the stage where nothing restaurants. Conglomerates.
Okay. Next. Which one? I think we should answer maybe the last question of the day. Since we are already over time, what do you want to answer for today's last question? Last question.
Mm, okay. From True Wealth 2021, do you think Series is still undervalued? Mm, if we factor in the potential infusions from its parent, CREC, because in their last briefing, CREC's management explained that uh, their portfolio is now at 285 megawatts and they plan to reach around 7,000 megawatts by 2028. And this additional capacity would require significant size of land. So they said that 1 megawatt will require at least 1 hectare of land, and all of this additional land bank would be infused into SIRI, which implies that SIRI's current land bank of 7.1 million square meters would expand at least tenfold if we factor in the pipeline of CRX. So if we consider that, then yes, CRX is still very much undervalued at current prices. Pero aside from looking at the the size of the potential infusion, syempre we should also consider the valuations, no? And on how these companies would value the assets that will be infused into CRX. So the cheaper the swaps would be, then the better for shareholders because it would be a more earnings accretive and it would result to higher dividends. There's still some details that need to be considered.
Okay, can you scroll down to see? Okay, I think that should do it for today. There were a number of questions that we weren't able to answer. We'll be taking note of them and answering them on our Facebook group, MyTrade map. If you are already a client of MyTrade, you should have access to that Facebook group, and hopefully you sign up so you can be a member. Any parting words for today?
Just want to wish everyone good luck on their trading endeavors for tomorrow. And the
Tomorrow.
rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you for your questions and thank you for spending time with us. That's all.
And hopefully you will like this video, share and subscribe to our channel, and also join join the Facebook group so you can see more of our discussions and IC's fairly regular technical analysis charts, which I think would be of great interest to a lot of our viewers here today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for another session of Beyond Collections. Bye.
Right.